All right, guys, welcome to another Deal Structure Sunday with High Six member Bill Reich from Washington, D.C. Bill, they are not tired of you yet. That's the interesting thing.
I don't know about them. I'm tired of myself, Chris. So.
All right. Well, you should be tired. You got a lot of good deals. Let's do this. I thought this deal was cool because you and I hung out last week, flew together and hung out together, and I got to meet a past seller, a present seller of yours, and who you ended up bringing on your team. So let's do this. I'll ask you some questions. I don't know all the answers. The source of it first. Let's start basic. Like, how'd you find this house?
This was, I think the usual. It was a slide broadcast, and it was, he had it on the market as a for sale by owner, I believe, but he wasn't committed. He just put it out on the market, and we hit him at the right time.
So he was originally an expired slide broadcast?
No, he wasn't. I'm pretty sure it was a FSBO.
Okay,
it was a
FSBO. All right. And then come to find out, he's a military guy.
Yeah, 27 years Marine Corps. He's a major, and he's retiring in August.
And give these guys the why was he selling? Because I always say, I just did it today on another video, it's so important to get the motivation. Everything else can line up, but what's the motivation for selling?
Yeah, it was pretty simple. He and his wife raised their kids, their two kids. I think they were in the house for about 7 years. And then they bought a big farm of about 40 acres. And he owned this property. He wanted to get rid of it, and he owned another property. So he had 3 properties he was paying on. And we came along at the right time. And it's probably worth a little bit more than his current mortgage. But I made a deal. It was the first subject to deal that I made where I came in and basically for no money, I took over the mortgage and the deed transferred to me. So I now own the property.
Okay, jumping ahead on me there, big guy. I know you're getting excited.
Sorry about that.
But no, let me comment on a few things. So you said the right time, but I want to just point out something to these guys. The right time is because you're doing follow-up and you're doing stuff all the time. And yeah, you hit them at the right time because over time, I always say shit changes, right? Like they might not be okay today, but over time, because real estate and life happens, people's timing changes. And so when you say right time, yeah, but you're on it for follow-up all the time.
I not to get off in a side tangent, but I had a call today from somebody who I spoke with over a year ago, and she went the other direction. She called and she basically said, I should have gone with you a year ago. Can you help me?
Yep. See, okay, so that brings up something else. So it's not a bad thing. It's a little bit different for deal structure, and then we'll get to the numbers. But that also assumes that people are going to be in business for a year, right? Like what you just said. I know it sounds crazy, but I always say we're looking for the serious and committed at Smart Real Estate Coach. That's a 3-year commitment. And I will tell you, you know this, but students try QLS, and that's just what they get for result. They tried it for 3 months, and then they quit. Man, yeah. Oh man, how can you get deals going, right?
Can't. Might take you a year, but once it happens, then it really happens.
Yeah. So, okay. One more, I hate to pound this home, but one more comment on that. Who cares if it took people a year, right? What's your average now? You keep it running. I know what it was. What's your average right now? All 3 paydays average.
Probably around somewhere in the 90s.
Okay. So for 90 grand, I'll say to people watching this, let's say they're doing it part-time. Who gives a squat if it took you 18 months and you got your first deal? Because what happens after the first one? What did you experience after 6 months?
Then it started to happen, one after another.
Yeah.
Until now I have 15 under my belt.
Yeah, 15 deals. Okay, so there's something for them to chew on. 15 deals averaging 90 grand a piece. Now, Bill, tell these guys what you think, but it's not going to take someone 2 years to get a deal. I mean, if they follow the system, what's realistic?
6 months.
Yeah, that's what you tell everybody now. Do some pop it in 30 days? Sure. But that's the norm. Absolutely not. It's just plan on 6 months.
Right.
So, little diversion. Now back to the numbers. You said you bought it subject to, give us some numbers. So first, I'll bullet point it. Underlying debt was how much? Ballpark.
Underlying debt was $486,000.
Okay. And market value roughly?
He was asking 520.
486, 520?
Yeah, so it's about 35,000 in equity.
But that's if he sold at a full price with no commission, no cost.
Yeah,
so that's why you were able to get it for what's owed, right?
Exactly.
And
I went through the numbers with him. I pointed out he's going to have to pay at least 3% to a buyer agent, closing costs, what have you. So he said, yeah, take it off my hands. Get rid of it.
He wants to go be with his kids. And so you had that in mind. I mean, you're helping him get his goal of 40 acres or whatever. Okay, so cool. You walk into that with some equity.
Yeah, so there was some equity.
Now, what are you going on the market for? You probably just did go on the market, but so these guys understand, then we'll map out the proposed paydays. You're going on the market for how much?
I'm assuming 539.9. If somebody came in and ended up getting a mortgage loan, let's say in a year, I might cut that back to 529.9, not to confuse the issue. But I see this as a long-term hold. Where this is located in Stafford, it's right by Quantico. So there's a ton of military down there, and they're coming in and out. I could rent this place in like 24 hours. So
okay, so this is cool to bring up, Bill, because we talk about this, you and I, and we talk about with the mastermind calls we do, because I don't want people to think they're stuck in any particular niche. Well, yes, we do what we do, but to Bill's point, he's in a phenomenal rental area. He just bought a house for whatever the closing costs were. What were they?
Closing costs were about $6,000.
Okay, because the higher end house. So he paid $6K. He paid $6K total, guys. Get that, to buy a $500,000 house. He owns it. There's no end date. There's no ticker. There's no nothing.
No.
So he could put a tenant buyer in there and not push him to get cashed out right away. Let them take their sweet time and tell them, don't stress out. And some of them love it. Some of them thank me when I tell them that. I told him the other day, Bill, and he said, oh, it's so good. I'll tell my family, because they knew the ticker was coming and they were nervous. Like I was going to kick them out or something.
Yeah.
So you put a rent-to-own buyer in there, or you put a tenant in there for several years and then do that when your debt's down. How much principal pay down on this?
Well, that's the sweet part. It's about $900 a month.
Okay, so soon it'll be $1,000 if you keep this long enough.
Yeah.
So $900 a month coming down in principal. So let's, for the heck of it, do the 3 paydays just so these guys understand where we're going, especially if they're new to watching these. Payday 1, we're going to assume on a 540 house, I don't know.
It's about 27,000. I figure 5% I might get more, but
You're being conservative. And I'm sure the viewers appreciate that. So we're not doing all fluff, because they get it. You could get as high as 50,000 on a 10%.
yeah.
Then, okay, so let's just say 30, round number, so we can do our math. Payday 2, what's the payment on this thing?
Payment's about $2,700 a month, and I think I'm going to be able to get $3,100 a month. So it's $400 a month.
Okay. What, without me taking time, what's a mortgage if somebody went out and took out a mortgage for $450 at 5%? Isn't that about $2,700? No.
Yeah, it's
Well, it's probably close to what he has, obviously, because he had that mortgage. Okay, so it's high 2s, and then you're going to rent it for 31, and that's giving them incentive to get a mortgage eventually.
yeah. Basically, the principal and interest would be roughly $2,700. If somebody came down there with a VA loan and they got 100% loans, $2,700 plus taxes plus insurance. It's $3,100.
Okay, so let's just say $400 times, I don't know, you're probably going to do a 36 month, right? So that's what?
I actually play with 48 months because I seriously may just go ahead and just lease this for a year or two.
Year or two, get the principal down.
Yeah, exactly.
A year or 2 or 10.
Or 10 or 20. I should look so long.
So let's say you did that and you got another for 4 years, you're probably talking, I don't know, 20 grand for payday 2.
Close to 20 grand.
Yeah. And then payday 3, you've got a markup of 20. You've got a pay down for 48 months of, I don't know, like 42 grand, right?
Yeah, I've got it a total of about 64,000. And if it's 4 years, I'm going to get more than 539.9. So that assumes about a 2-year hold, maybe a 3-year hold.
Yeah.
But if it's a 4-year hold, I'm probably going to be at 549, maybe even higher. So, but being conservative, 539.9, it's about a $64,000 back end payday 3, including principal pay down and appreciation.
So I have 114,000 if you don't keep this and really utilize it for what you could.
Yeah, that's about right. I actually come out with 110,007. So
okay. So here's what I want to say to everybody. You're used to this, but I just want to do this, and then whatever thoughts that ponders up in you, and then we'll wrap up for these guys. But I want you to think about not just putting 6-figure deals in your hopper, but think of this, guys. I said this to a new applicant today, Bill. Okay, so you put a new deal in the books. Bill just did that. Let's say he goes this route. Next month, let's say he fills it. Say it takes him a whole 30 days. It's a great year. He probably won't. But he gets a deposit next month. He just did this deal. Then he gets cash flow every single month. And then he puts on his books, 4 years from now, he puts out the date that he's going to get the extra 60-something grand, totaling 100 and something grand. Okay. So then next month he does just one deal, not 2, 3, whatever Bill can do in a month. He does one more deal next month. And he puts that out 3 years. And can you see how this parlays and paydays 1, 2s, and 3s? You get a pretty nice wealth plan going. So next year, after working, actually for Bill, it'll be 2 years in December. So you might have been at this a year and a quarter, not even a quarter. So let's say after 2 years, Bill decides I'm going to take 6 months off, 6, and not do anything whatsoever. The paydays are fine. Your money's not going to stop. It's already tiered out all the way.
I wouldn't know what to do.
We want you to keep working.
I wouldn't know what to do with myself.
Well, I know, but I want them to think of what their options might be. Because if they got a job out there, you've been in that world. It's no fun. You can't do that.
Let me give you a quick PS to wrap this up. The seller was so thrilled at our business model and what we did for him that when his retirement comes through in August, it's actually going to be closer to June because there's an internship involved. I won't get into details, but he is now on the team. He's starting to work for me, and he's going to be working full time when he retires from the Marine Corps. So
it's simply awesome.
He's lined up appointments. We already got a deal. I just signed a second subject to deal because of Pete and the job he did. And he's dealing with a lot of military people in very similar situations. So
I love it.
Yeah, we're going to have it's a great team. He's going to be a tremendous addition. I'm thrilled.
You know, it's awesome. It's a great job. And I forgot to bring that up. I got off rambling. But, you know, it's cool. I'll tell these guys, too. You had him buy QLS, the video program.
Yep.
You had him meet me for dinner because I happen to be in D.C.
Yep.
Great guy. He's going to make a great team member. And he's coming to the business scaling event in the QLS, isn't he?
Yep.
Both events. Guys,
Yep.
This is like, I don't want to say plug and play. That's watering it down. But Bill's doing what he's supposed to do, and he plugged in the right pieces. And you're going to hear a lot more about the deals he's doing. I would just tell you guys on a deal structure ending of this video, get your butt registered for the business scaling this year, as well as the QLS, the annual QLS live event. Bill, quick comment on our events, and then we'll wrap up from you.
Can't wait. You know me. I'm all in. I'm completely jacked up to see all my fellow associates from around the country.
Yeah.
We talk every day. We're on Slack every day, but there's nothing like being in the same room with all those people. And it's, and the information that we get and just sharing deals and how we structure, and the scaling event's going to be very special to a lot of us because we're all in the same position now. We want to get up to the next level. We want to scale our business, and it's going to be a great place.
It's awesome. And then on the way home, flying from you, Ryan said to me, how many events has like Dawn come to and Claudia, and that's their 4th one coming up, their 4th annual. And if you were your 3rd, I think.
3rd.
And you've been here in my office 3 times, I think, at least.
If not 4.
Yeah, and I've been to you a few times. So this is part of the associate program, guys. You can't get more hands-on, and him and I could brainstorm for a half hour after all we've done together. But I'll leave it at that. Your simple call to action is get over to smartrealestatecoach.com and register for the 2 events. It's on there under Business Scaling Secrets and QLS Live. Bill, thanks for taking some time again, buddy.
Pleasure. Hope to see everybody there.